Hello, hello. Welcome back to another episode of Disabled Girls Who Lift. We still exist. Thank you for your support as always, online, on Instagram, on the Twitters, the Patreon, the coins, the sharing, the name drops, all of that good stuff. It's two of us on today. This is Marcia on Seminole Tribe land in Florida. I have on my Champagne Rose Beats headphones, a big floofy orange t-shirt, and I'm sitting in front of my abstract colored wall, and I am a black femme with locks.
Beautiful black femme with locks.
Yeah,
I miss you. I miss everyone. I feel like it's been forever since we've gone on here by ourselves.
it has been forever. That is factual.
Well, what's up, y'all? It's Marybeth from Northern California, sitting on Ohlone land. I am wearing all black. It's a shirt that says "We are all dreamers." I'm wearing black headphones, black mic in front of me, sitting in my office. So you'll see a bookshelf to my left. And I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. Yeah.
We
We're
got
here. We
lots
still
to kind
exist.
of like catch up on with each other,
Yes,
the world,
with the
and
world. Mm,
good and
yeah.
bad.
Good, just, things in all directions, in all caps. Everything, everywhere, all at once.
Oh,
Kind of like that.
Grammy, Golden Globe Awards.
Yes, that's the vibe of our actual life right now. So, I mean, we've been like missing a couple months. I think we finally started missing some months. So that's how you know we're really going through it, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
a little
Um,
busy in our lives, professionally and personally, which is
yeah,
fine.
a little professional busyness, a little personal heaviness, lots of stuff. So let's talk about it. How we cope, how we're doing, catch up on our life. Uh, who's
Yeah.
going first?
Well, I think too, like it's great to have a community that's kind of supportive in our process too. No one's rushing us to get a new podcast episode scheduled and uploaded or post on Instagram like 3 times a day like we used to. People are kind of forgiving because they know how important it is for us to rest and to heal. So I do want to say I appreciate that.
Yeah, disabled folks know what it's about. And I see that from other creators sometimes. Like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry I haven't posted. I'm like, nah, bitch, I'm not sorry.
Yeah, yeah. Also,
You know what
sometimes
it
like
is.
not everybody notices. Like
Yeah.
maybe it has been a few days, but I didn't notice you were gone for 2 days. I didn't even open my phone, you know?
Yeah. It's not that deep. Like, so if you're
We're
that
not
person that feels
roommates.
that way, relax. Relax. Take your time.
Yeah, we're not sharing utility bills up in here.
Yeah. It's uh, I mean, unless content creation is your job, then I guess that's probably a different conversation, but we're not talking about people like that. This is not our job.
Yeah, yeah. But it's been great too, like still throughout this time getting other people to talk about their story, and we're still like keeping our pictures out there, our relevance out there. Because
Yeah.
you had an episode not too recently, right?
Oh yeah, I talked to Brandy, you talked to Rachel.
Mm-hmm.
We had somebody before that together, Kim. Yeah, we've been in and out all over the place. So we still exist,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah. But to kind of just catch up on our lives,
Yes.
it's been 6, 7-ish months since we kind of gave y'all an update on our healing journey. What else did we talk about? Kind of just like self-care
Self-care.
through COVID, through like just changes in general, right? Like job changes, family, house changes, things like that.
Yeah, boundary setting, therapy. I think we talked about therapy in that one too. That was a couple episodes ago. We're talking about the September episode, self-care without breaking the bank. So
Episode
this
65. Oh, 64.
64. So yeah, this will be same vibes, I suppose. But
Sorry,
you know,
66.
get it together. The time for
I'm
grace and
losing
compassion is over.
track.
You're not allowed to be a mess anymore. Get it together.
Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. It is episode 66. But yeah, I mean, a lot has happened in the last 7 months, right? We had holidays, and then this new year that all of a sudden everything just opened back up, like
Yeah.
drastically in 2023. Like
Yeah. I
all
don't know
these
how 5 months
events
have
started
passed and
happening.
it's been like a week. It feels like a
It,
week. It's May.
yeah, it
The
feels
fuck is
like a
this?
week, but it also feels like a year.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah,
So I
no, how's
definitely
it?
collectively there's a lot going on, like experience wise, that we can all share. I mean, holidays suck for some people and they're good for others, so we could share that, right? And then just fucking all the bad news in the world, we have that collective experience to share.
Yeah.
Hooray. Lots of dumpster fires.
Yeah, and just how scary it's been in like Congress, things that are happening in different states. Like, why are people, you know?
Yeah, it's feeling very Handmaid's Tale with all these rules about uteruses and trans kids. It's scary out there. And they're working hard. They're really going hard right now. They
Yeah.
turned the year and they were like, let's fuck them kids. Like they meant that.
Mm-mm.
So we all have that collectively, or well, I mean, at least US, not all we, because not all of our listeners are Americans.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I mean, globally, everybody's going through it. I know that for a fucking fact. So, like earthquakes, right? Natural disasters, freaking
Fires and tornadoes where there shouldn't really be.
yes, we got revolutions everywhere. Everywhere is a fucking dumpster fire. So I think
Yeah.
we all collectively need to take a fucking breath. And then we get like the extra spice of individual life.
Hmm. Yeah, what's happening in our little bubbles,
Just a little
every
taste.
day, every month, and how we're coping with that. And I feel like I think having each other has been great, offline, and bouncing ideas back and forth, but then bouncing like new life changes and how we're grieving and individually has been healing for me. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, so last time we talked, let me see. My partner
Or
had just
October.
started like school, so
Yes.
I was the main breadwinner of the household, and I have been for the last 7-ish months. So kind of keeping my mental sanity and on top of what just like financial things, balancing, like having rented a brand new like 3-bedroom house. It's not a mortgage, but it is still a lot in the Bay Area.
Right.
It's
Still a hefty
ridiculous up
sum.
here.
Yeah.
And yeah, just kind of supporting people while also allowing them to recognize like how much of sacrifice like I'm taking
Right.
for somebody else. Like, and this is of course my husband, but
Right.
um he's a grown ass man, and sometimes I feel like sometimes I feel like I don't want to be, somebody's mother or whatever the case may
Right.
be. Like in marriages, like it always kind of comes to that. So that's been kind of like a fun and interesting journey. Like he just got a job offer last week, so it puts a lot of pressure off of me for just mental, physical, like time aspects too, and how
Right.
our days are kind of scheduled. Um,
It's
and
a lot of
then
pressure.
yeah, on top of kind of supporting our own friends too, who
Yeah.
recently like lost a mother, and providing like babysitting support, if not financial support, like while
Yeah.
still
Giving
taking care of
time.
ourselves has been very interesting.
That's a
Um,
lot. You're not gonna get far with that if you don't know like how to check in with yourself and how to check in with your partner and say what you need or even know what you need. That's a
And
lot.
I mean, and so that means, and we love this child who we're taking care of. He's at our house 3 times a week out of the 7. That's during my work day while I
Right.
work from home. He's my godson, so of course I treat him like my own. But through all that, like we've also been trying to conceive for the last year and 7 months. So, with every month that comes and there's like a negative pregnancy test, and we've
Mm,
been kind
mm,
of emotionally and like physically scheduling these moments and what taking tests to make sure that our everything's viable and kind of getting on a better fitness grind per
right.
se, to keep our bodies healthy and to keep our just system healthy has been a lot.
It
you
is a
know
lot. It is a lot because it's
it's a
like
lot of sacrifice.
I mean, I can't relate to that exact experience, but I know how much it is to have to treat my body like a science experiment. Like, all right, these are the things I have to do. Like all the like the hyper vigilance at all times. Like, all right, what am I eating? How am I moving? Am I getting enough sleep? All the time to attempt to control something that really is not controllable. There's so many variables, right? Like I could wear a sunscreen that fucks me up for 2 weeks because I was allergic, right? Like you could do everything that you're supposed to do. That shit is exhausting. So I can only imagine what that feels like. Like if I
Hmm.
picture that feeling into what you're describing, it's like even I'm sure more magnified because you're taking something that's just supposed to be like cute and magical and passionate and loving and fun. And it's a fucking like it's like science now. You're just like you're
Yeah,
checking a fucking chart all the time, like you're
literally.
checking numbers, like that
it's
sucks.
it's a full-on research paper with my
Yeah,
body and with my like emotions. But um
a lot.
I think the biggest thing too is like, okay, like I'm in my 30s, he's in his mid 30s,
Mm-hmm.
and the timing of it is like okay, it's not terrifying, it's not there's just a lot of downplaying when it comes to like the TTC journey because so many couples, accidentally get pregnant or there's just a huge spectrum when it comes to fertility,
Mm.
which is wild, and I'm learning so much more about it. But um, all our lives we were taught how not to conceive, right? Wear the fucking condom, take
Mm-hmm.
birth control pills. You were actually just talking about how your OBGYN actually was uncomfortable talking to you um
Right.
about
Birth
what
control and
birth control.
HPV.
And is that because you're in Florida versus in California where we're overpopulated and they drill that into us like at the age of 14?
Yeah.
That's wild to me, but that's all I've known since I was 14,
Yeah. How
to
not to have a baby.
how not to have a baby. And so kind of learning on my own via books, via articles and TTC like experts and my own OBGYN, it's been a lot of information, like super exciting. But I think um the biggest thing is the high hope that comes with every month. There's like the 2 week
Mm-hmm.
waiting period between your last period and ovulation, and then that whole journey is just like interesting because I'm like, oh shit, I feel like I'm pregnant. Why did I throw up? Why am I feeling nauseous?
Oh,
This
that
is
just gave me
exciting.
like
Yeah.
such a wave of sadness. Oh my God, you're killing
It's
me.
exciting because I'm like, okay, I'm supposed to be feeling these side effects. Um, Even if it's something, far from pregnancy or
Right.
conception. But then when that period comes along, it's like a very dry, dark day in
Yeah.
my house, like we're not trying to blame each other, me and my partner. no one did anything wrong, but
But you can't help but be disappointed.
yeah, it's just a failed test every single month for the last 18 months. So, lots of friends of mine have tried for 14 years and come out with beautiful babies. Others have tried IVF or IUI and have either failed that or passed, not passed, but came out with something that
Mm.
they wanted, or adoption's also a great option. And
What's IUI?
intrauterine, I forgot what the I stands for at the end, but they essentially just like, I guess, sterilize the sperm and still do it all in a lab and try conception that way, and then like insert it into my uterus and also insert other hormones and essentially like sterilize it so that it has like the best viable option or the
Oh,
best
okay. So it's still
response.
still like the whole process of IVF, but like the method is a little different.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
IVF works more for couples who one partner can't conceive
Mm-hmm.
versus IUI. I think both have viable sperm and viable eggs that can come together. It's just there are no methods naturally that work. So they
Mm.
still have to intervene. So I guess that's what that I stands for. Intrauterine intervention, I think. Someone explain to me.
Who knows? No, all I know is that for IVF you have to take a lot of shit. Like you don't just like show up. That's all I know. Like you
Yeah.
don't just pull up like here we go. Like you had to like pump yourself with.
Yeah, both take a process,
Yeah,
obviously.
that's a commitment.
Both are a lot for the female's hormones because like one actually takes um what like implantation, and you have to get your ovaries like a certain, not your ovaries, your like the egg a certain
Yeah,
size.
your follicles for like
Mm-hmm.
oh jeez that's a lot. That's a big financial commitment, obviously, and like emotional also.
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
Yeah.
that's a lot.
And at the end of it, it's still a risk, it's a risk on all of our bodies up
Right.
until that baby comes out. So yeah, it's been
Mm,
fun, but I think having a patient partner and all of that's really important to be patient with ourselves and to also be more forgiving of ourselves and our bodies and not hating our bodies for what it can and can't do. That's
right.
been important for me.
Mm,
Mm.
mm. Oh man. Yeah, that oof, when you're talking about every month when you started that sentence, I felt like whew, like this ocean of grief. It fucking sucks. And
Yeah.
I'm just thinking of like the complete opposite where I mean my uterus wasn't having it. And I honestly like don't know what the fuck that was about. But I'm like I was every time I got my period, I was like fantastic, sensational. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
happy. I was very happy. Because
And
I've
oh,
been
and literally for the last 20 years, that's kind of how we're trained, you know,
yeah.
especially those boss bitches that have businesses and have like can't take 9 months off.
Yeah.
I get it.
Um it's fucking wild. I feel especially for me in the past couple of years, I've been like totally happy about seeing my period because of changing like on and off birth controls, trying this, trying that, just fucking having a whole wreck with like irregular cycles and just
Yeah.
shit going off the wall. And then also just slowly realizing that the person I was married to was a piece of shit. So like like not wanting to be tied to that person for the rest of my life.
Mm,
Major win.
mm.
Ma- Major win. Totally
Yeah, and
opposite experience for me from you every month.
but it's true, like a child does tie you to that one person, whether you like it or not, for life,
Yeah.
versus other things like promises, marriages. They're still, it's a piece of paper.
Yeah, it's whatever. That's fucking nuts. So what have you done I guess, differently compared to how you coped with life before to coping with life plus the trying to conceive journey?
I think the biggest thing, or I think the hardest thing for me is I rely a lot on friends, and that's essentially therapy for me, and that I can like share with them about this journey. But I feel like the TTC journey, just for me, everyone's is unique, but I feel
Yeah.
like that's a lot more private and between me and my partner. Like I've shared in different waves to people that are important to me, like, okay, we have been trying, especially to the grandparents who are waiting
Yeah.
for a child, like, be patient with us, please. Like, it's not that we don't want to give you a grandchild. We're fucking trying, but stop asking.
Yeah.
Is like every month, it feels like, we could be worse off, period.
Right.
Like there could be worse things in the world that are happening, or sorry, there could be worse things that could be happening to us, and
Right.
it feels so small in such a big fucked up world. um so keeping it private has been, you know humbling. I don't know, it's been hard but humbling, you know
Yeah. I
I
mean, it's a tough balance because obviously there are other things happening in the world, and this is small in that like perspective, but then there's also the perspective like it is a big part of your life right now.
Mhm.
It's a
Yeah.
huge chunk of your time, your effort, your emotions. So like it is a big deal.
Oh, for sure. And
Yeah.
again, I try hard not to downplay it myself, but
Yeah.
like naturally I hate be like, "Yeah, it's not a big deal, it's fine." But what
It's
month is it?
awkward. It's awkward. It's also awkward to it's there's a couple things. It's like awkward to talk about. There's a level of vulnerability because that I understand because like I never discussed my romantic relationship with anybody until I started really doubting it, honestly.
Mm,
With that man for over a decade, I never really like I never complained to the girlfriends about him or like shit like that at all. So that
yeah,
like step, that was like a step. That was like a oh, okay. We
yeah,
told people things. This is
yeah, exactly.
weird. Yeah.
And I think that kind of shows the severity of it, right? A lot of
Yeah.
things that you feel like you can quote unquote deal with on a daily basis. Okay,
Right.
that can stay private, but fuck. If this is on my mind 24/7 and it's affecting every aspect of my life, okay, it needs to come out. That's how I feel about it too. So,
That's a good way to put it though.
yeah, so when you needed out, like, and you felt like, okay, something's not wrong here, let me kind of poll my other ladies
Mm-hmm.
about how relationships work, what is toxicity. I think that's when they're both coping mechanisms, but
They're yeah, and either can be protective and either could be like maladaptive. It just depends, right? Some things are not to be shared with everyone. And there's also, I mean, it takes like some level of strength and awareness to be vulnerable and follow through with it. And then there's also the small sliver of like maybe you choose the wrong person to
mhm.
be vulnerable with, and that ends up like they can't hold the space for you or they don't agree with you or whatever. Like there's always that part of it too. Not even just sharing what's private. It's like, well, what happens if this goes in an opposite direction? Then I got to deal with cutting somebody off. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's
But
the
in
other.
your
Mm-hmm.
and but in your case, you're not just cutting one person off. It's like a pod. It's a family. It's a like a group of important people in your life that you feel like, "Oh shit, I want my life to go a different direction, and
Mm-hmm.
I can't do it with these folks."
Yeah.
That's rough.
Oof. That is very rough.
But
But I
in
know
the
that's.
same
Mm-hmm.
No, go ahead. No, like on that same line, you're finding importance in all these other people. You know, like I think we're investing our energy just to different people in your lives. Um
Yeah. Because I mean, it takes the strength to be vulnerable, and it's scary because what if they can't be there for you? But like also, if that's true, fuck them, right? Like, like getting there too is a process. And sometimes we can't handle dealing with, the thing in front of us, and also like the fuck them part of it. So I mean, that's real. That's why I said either way is self protection, whether it's maladaptive. You're gonna have to talk
Mhm.
to your therapist about that. But I agree with you at this point in my life. Yeah, like I'm moving my life in a different direction, and if the people aren't moving with me, they're getting left behind. Fuck
Mhm.
them.
Fuck 'em.
Fuck them.
Fuck
Wish
'em
them the
and see.
best. And if we're gonna
But
love
do
and
we?
huh?
But do
No,
we wish 'em the best?
no, we don't. But if we're love and lighting it, they're just operating on a different vibrational plane than us. We're just on different paths. We're just on different energies, and they're just at a different point in their journey than ours. That's all.
Yeah, literally, the stars did
Fuck
not
them.
align. Fuck 'em.
Yeah. No.
Oh god. But yeah, that takes a lot of self-awareness too. Like, how are you doing to cope with those decisions? That's a really big decision to like voice, to make like with yourself and then to
Yeah.
communicate with the other person.
Oh, it's a lot. So to give you all some background, essentially, I left my husband. I realized it's an abusive relationship, emotionally, financially, total trash, total ass. I will never speak positively of him. He is a trash human being. But then the other part of it that sucked is that we kind of had like a trio, and we lived with someone that I called my brother. Like when I introduced him to people, like people thought like that was my blood relative. That was our relationship, or at least my relationship to him. His attachment to me is obviously not the same. So that whole situation got blown up because I didn't really feel supported by the brother, not brother.
Yeah, and you all live together. It's not like, yeah.
Yeah, we all lived together. And whether he didn't want to have to accept that my ex was abusive, whether he just didn't want to have to deal with, I don't know, feelings, or I don't know what the fuck the deal was, but I'm moving along. You're not moving with me.
Mhm.
See you later. So dealing with that, lots of therapy, lots of journaling, lots of crying, obviously. For the my abusive ex, I made actually like a whole YouTube series, which I we could put the link in the show notes, but it's not like I mean it's satirical, it's funny, but I also cry in it. So, and talk about abuse, so that's not like a leisurely watch. You've been warned. So
Yeah,
that
it's beautiful
that
though. Very
yeah.
artistic.
Yeah, I still can't. Sometimes I look at it, I was like, damn, I made
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, it can seriously be added to like a film festival and win some awards
Oh
because the
wow.
feelings that like the emotions and feelings of grief, relief, like all of it through that journey, everybody feels in each episode, you know?
Yeah,
The entire
yeah,
series was just, yeah, it speaks for itself.
it does. And that's like being, I mean, lots of therapy, like I said, but and learning how to be okay with all of those feelings. Um, and knowing when I have to slow down, when I have to do nothing, when I have to do more.
Yeah.
It's yeah. Yeah, so I've done a lot when it comes to like movement and really unpacking the all or nothing mindset. Having a coach has helped with that. Gabby Strength is amazing. Like checking in with my body, and therapy has helped with like day to day checking in with like where I'm at emotionally, like why am I irritable today, why do I feel heavy today. It's like, oh well, okay, obviously it's because it's Easter and my mom would have been here, or like, oh, it's because it's this holiday and all three of us would have made a big dinner, right? Like being able
Yeah.
to do that day to day has helped a lot. Still a process though, because I still want to be productive and
Yeah.
healed already, but the healing is not linear.
Mm-mm.
That's for true.
And it's hard getting out of those like what do you call them? Routines, right? Whether it's
Yeah.
a daily routine or a yearly routine, like you said, holidays come up and it's going to
Right.
be the same day every year and you have
Yeah.
all of these memories of the last 20 years or the last even like 20 years before that, right?
Right.
With your mother, your partner, your best friend, and it's going to change going forward, and it is like a huge grieving process every fucking year. Like there's no,
Yeah. There's a
they
lot.
say that time heals, but that holiday is going to come up every time. And
No. Time does not heal.
yeah, and so like, everyone says like, oh, make new memories and try to make that date or that song or that meal like
Yeah,
a
the
new
place.
experience for you so that, not to like forget or regret any of those things that you did with your ex, but um, just make fun, positive things. Like that's hard too.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's like I think what people don't talk about enough is that like people like to say time heals, make new memories or whatever, but it's like, no, that it's not like everything is still there. Like the grief will always be there, just won't always be as loud. So like the other part of what I've been doing is traveling alone. And I haven't gone anywhere like far and wide, like, I haven't eat, pray, loved yet. But taking like little weekend trips to New York and whatever and shit, like, and these are places that we either gone as a trio or I went with my ex. And like literally going to places we've been together and sure making a new memory, but the memory of what happened there is still gonna be there, right? Like
Hmm.
they both happen at the same time. Like the grief and the joy coexist. And I feel like people don't talk about that enough. Like I could literally like I went to Universal, which is something that me and the ex would always do. Drive up, go to the parks, walk around, visit friends, right? I literally drove up 3 hours. I cried the whole way up. I got
Mm.
there, I had a great day. I spent time with my friend, and then I cried all the way down. And then the next day I just moved on with my life. Like it's up, like it's up and down, and it's gonna be that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like there is no day that I wake up and it's like, ha, it's over. Yeah.
And like again, like going back to like being a boss bitch, having a business, having like
Yeah.
responsibilities and things like that, as
Yeah, it's
much as we
rough.
want to schedule our grief and our what sessions of crying and sessions of whatever, like you can't. It's gonna happen all at once. Even if you say like, no, I'm gonna have the best fucking time in Orlando or the best time in
Yeah.
New York. I think that's, yeah. The only thing that can help with that is like a horrible like alcohol and drug phase of physically and
Yeah.
literally forgetting everything. And so like being able to do without is,
Hmm.
it's like a huge ode to you for being so fucking strong and healing via crying and talking
Thank
to
you for
people like
that.
us.
I can definitely understand it though. Like I could definitely understand how people would go through drinking and just trying to find ways to totally dissociate. I totally understand it. I really do because that shit is hard to go through a day and have fucking 20 emotions in it. It's like the
Mhm.
fuck. What
Yeah.
the fuck? It's a lot. Um and again, whether the coping is maladaptive, you're gonna have to talk to your therapist about that. But like that's something my therapist told me. She's like, it's okay if sometimes you need to freeze. That's all right. Sit on your phone and do nothing for 6 hours. That's what you need that day.
Mhm.
Give yourself a day or two, and then the next day, you go back to your routine, like whatever. It's not that deep.
Yeah. Yeah, and everyone's healing is gonna be different, you know? Because
Mm.
I say that out loud because I know it's the
Yeah.
healthy route, but, like, in the past, like, alcohol, I definitely resorted to a lot, and then, um, you can see, like, weight changes also in a lot of people, like, huge dramatic losses or huge
Hmm.
gains, like.
Yeah, not eating or totally eating
Mhm.
terrible, large amounts of foods that you wouldn't really eat, or just being all
Yeah.
over the place. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and it's all a part of that process. I'm not saying you should do one thing or not. It's
Oh, definitely not. Yeah.
but
Um, yeah, coping skills. Coping skills are a bitch. So yeah, therapy's good. Journaling's not for everyone. And when I say journaling, like I write like 10 words on a piece of paper. Like I don't write a soliloquy, you know? Like I might write a poem.
mm.
Like I can't do handwriting. Or maybe I'll voice record in my diary. It's
Mhm.
even little things like that, because people say so many platitudes and things that you should do. Oh, meditate. Oh, journal. But okay, how?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like
That's
you're in the middle of your crisis and your grief, and then you have to figure out which way to do things is also a lot.
if I can just say how beautiful it is to be in 2023 and have all this multimedia to play with because
Yeah.
like writing, like physically writing on a journal on a yellow notepad is what I remember, but you also have resources like YouTube, like studios, like
Yeah.
damn good videography skills, editing skills, to make a fucking movie about your grieving process. I would have not seen that 30 years ago.
Yeah,
Or
that's
as
true.
accessible, we could do what we can by performing on a stage for our small group of friends,
Yeah.
or posting a very heartfelt thing on YouTube like that. I think that speaks to so many more people who have
Yeah.
probably
No, it's
dealt
true.
with the same thing.
Oh, yeah. It's honestly heartbreaking how many people message me privately like, "Oh yeah, I left an abusive ex," and or actually I'm in the middle of it right now and I think I might be in the same situation, or oh, I'm in the process of getting divorced and this is what it's like. Like there's so many people and it's like, what the fuck?
Mhm.
Like why is this such a shared common experience when it's so fucked up? It really sucks.
And it's really hard for people to relate or understand if they weren't actually in it, because there are so many people looking in on the outside that are like, "Well, why didn't you just get out 10 years ago
I
if
didn't
you
think he'd be
felt
like
it?"
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, if it was all negative, why stay? Like, it's not that fucking easy, first of all,
Yeah.
especially if that abuse is comes in the form of gaslighting, or, there are gonna be some positive memories or some
Yeah.
positive aspects of that person that you still hold on to, and not all abuse is physical.
Yeah, exactly. That's the other, yeah, that's like there's so many levels to it that suck. It's like your background, where you come from. Because like my background is like I feel like peak immigrant culture, but specifically Haitians is like, like the Haitian mom does everything. She's the superhero, she's the therapist, she's the cleaner, she's the cook, like she's
Mm,
the trip organizer. I did all that. I very much followed the script. And it's like, oh, keep your husband happy. Your husband will probably cheat on you. That's fine. You keep him happy, serve him. You know what I mean? Like, fuck.
mm.
Like, that's the programming. And then on top of that, where nobody ever talks about, oh, this is gaslighting. Oh, this is manipulation. It's just like, oh, if he hits you, then it's bad, but he's not hitting you. It's
Right,
fine.
right. And this is
Well,
sometimes coming from people who you look up to as, like, matriarchs in the family, or I
yep.
mean, I'm not saying in your experience, but, I'm just thinking moms, aunties, grandmas, like,
Yeah.
"Oh, just deal with it. I've dealt with
Yeah.
it for 60 years and we're happily married." But
Yep.
are you?
Exactly.
You got 12 children who are, doing great, but are you happily married? Do you
Yeah. Like,
die with this person?
if you were so happy, why are you always so irritable? I don't know.
Why are you
Yeah.
still spanking your children in the 30s?
Yeah, what's going on here? There's something to it. Yeah, it's some bullshit. It's some bullshit. Then then you could add some intersections into it, like, if you're fucking poor, if you're not white, if you're disabled or neurodivergent or anything, like you're more likely to be the victim of this kind of shit too, right? Like it's
Mhm.
just stupid.
Yeah.
It's not fair. I don't like it. I don't
Yeah.
like it one bit. I do not.
That's not spoken enough a lot. And, that's we're getting into very dark talks, but
Yeah.
like we are the most vulnerable population, period. And it
Mm-hmm.
fucking sucks. Like again, emotionally, physically, all
Yeah.
of the things. One, like we start off, I start
Right.
off being born naturally as like an unlovable person. It feels like, oh, I
Right.
don't have two hands, something's wrong with me,
Something's broken.
someone's got to take care of me, like I'm a burden, blah blah blah, all the things that we've talked about on this podcast.
Right.
You bring another person into your life, if they make you feel all of those things and
Mm-hmm.
say, again, you're weak, you're a burden, like as much as we not want that like as much as we know that that's wrong for us to have in our lives, a lot of us settle for that.
Yeah. And you might not even realize it because that's what's familiar. You might not realize it until you see the other perspective, like, oh shit, like, no, I'm not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's kind of I know for me, in terms of like those shifts in perspective, the reframes, I was only honestly, my mom died, right? So that's like a huge life shift for me. Like, okay, life short, or okay, this is how people responded to this. This is the aftermath of it. Like, there's levels to that. Also starting therapy individually did a lot. Um, and then we also did couples therapy together, which if you're in an abusive relationship could really be like unsafe. It wasn't necessarily unsafe for me, but that was also very eye-opening because I'm just hearing more perspectives,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
That's all it comes down to, is being able to hear other sides besides the story that you're telling yourself, because we could always rewrite that story.
Yeah.
Sometimes we just need more ideas.
Well, and somebody that's experiencing it and seeing it with you firsthand. That's what a couples therapist does a lot of the time. So, like they see that toxicity, they see the gaslighting
Mm-hmm.
happening in front of them, versus with probably your friends and your family. He's like this awesome person. Everybody wants
Mm-hmm.
to be friends with him. But what is he like in a relationship? Right.
Right.
I
Yeah,
think that's
that's
what
different.
was huge, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Someone to agree with
Definitely.
you.
Somebody just show you a different side, different angle. Gotta hit them angles. um, I mean, I will say I'm very privileged though, because I wasn't necessarily in a situation where I had to stay. Some people are. Some
Mhm.
people can't work, some people are stuck, some people it would just be impossible housing wise. Shit is expensive, right? Like I'm okay. And I even had help when I wasn't okay. Like I asked people for help and fucking people helped me. So I'm very, very privileged in that regard. Grateful
Yeah.
for that shit. So that's happening. So needless to say, I haven't really lifted for like 3 months and I just started. And it is trash.
Hey, we can
Woo!
all relate to that.
Yeah. Well, we're coming back. We're coming back to the weights. We're coming
So
back.
you were able to build a little gym for yourself inside of your living room, right? Is that still the case?
Yeah,
You've
it's in
got a
my living
squat
room.
rack and
I don't have a TV. I have a squat rack.
hey, life's all about balance, you know?
Yes. So it's my living room slash gym.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it. That's where I'm at right now.
Yeah, and it just takes that right moment or that right day to kind of get back into somewhat of a groove physically. And I'm talking just like a fitness groove, whether
Yeah.
that be walking or doing a few squats or getting on the bench.
Or yeah, more mobility stuff. It's honestly been interesting because this is a type of body feelings and like mental feelings that I have not dealt with. So like in the beginning, I was very activated, I'd say, like a lot of fight or flight feelings, right? Because I literally like packed my shit and I left in the middle of the night type thing.
Yeah.
The like fucking
The thick of
snuck
it.
away in the thick of it,
Yeah.
right?
It was
Like I
foggy
was
outside. There were
yeah,
black cats.
yeah, it was fucking yeah,
There's
it was
one street
wild.
light. Let me
I was
paint the
amped
scene.
and I've never experienced that in my life. So I totally feel for people that are fucking got mood disorders or like whatever, like imbalances and shit, because that was some shit. Like I couldn't sleep, my heart rate was up, like I was like fucking wired.
Yeah.
I've never dealt with that, so I did like a lot of different things in terms of movement to try to get some stuff out, try to sleep. And then when I came down from that, it's like the complete opposite. It's like a crash. It's like, oh shit, okay,
Mm,
now what?
yeah.
That shit was rough.
How long did that last? The high, the adrenaline, the
mm, Probably like a month, probably a solid month of that. Like I was taking sleep aids, like we were up.
yeah,
We
it's a
was
long
up.
time.
Yeah, it's a long time. So that is like a whole new level of checking in and listening to your body because my body was just screaming. Like I'm checking in and she's just like, ah! Oh, all right, we're screaming again today. Like, what the fuck?
And then after a while, it's just silence.
That shit was nuts.
Like, where's she at? Where is she?
That is the wild. I'm honestly, dude. Anybody that's dealing with that kind of shit where they go up and down against their will, you you are a gift and a treasure to the world for still being alive because that was fucking rough. Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So dealing with trying to figure out movement around that has been interesting. Now I'm pretty much back to normal nervous system at least. So
So what have you been able to do with your body? Like, are you doing like active like yoga movements? Are you getting under the squat rack? Obviously, you can't do strongman inside
inside
of
the
an
living room.
apartment on the, I don't know if you're
Yeah.
on the second floor, but
Yeah. Well, when I was high off of fucking epinephrine, I was going on angry walks. I was fucking hoofing it. Like just like I would literally just walk and it'd be like an hour. I'm like, holy shit.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, I had a lot. I had a lot of it was fucking weird. So that was that. And I was lifting in like I had an Airbnb. I didn't get the apartment yet. I was doing like random lifts, like, 10-15 minute things just to move and do something with the energy.
Yeah.
And then coming down from that is kind of the opposite because I don't feel like moving. So that was a lot of just like I wasn't even doing a program. I would just do whatever I could do. I might just do fucking split squats with a kettlebell and like cat and cows, call it a day.
Hmm.
So that was like February, March. And April is when I was like, all right, coach, put me back in.
Okay.
And yeah. So it's
Well,
just now.
and so there were months where you didn't have anything programmed with a coach, and other months where you had like a few, um, what do you call them? Blocks of little bits of training.
Yeah. So January I had programming and I just did whatever I could kind of thing. It wasn't
Yeah.
really I wasn't sticking to the program. But like February, March was nothing. It was just whatever day I felt like I could move, I did, but otherwise it was like no pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still cool to have a coach who understands that it's not just going to take a few days or a few weeks. Like sometimes it will take multiple months where you won't hear from me because fitness is not fitness, but like movement is triggering for me right now and triggering for my body.
Yeah.
And
Too
Gabby's
much.
someone who's like, that's okay.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm here. You let me know.
Yeah, yeah, that's so important.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty live. What about you? How are you dealing with movement in your fucking monthly roller coaster of a life?
I'm kind of the same way. I mean, not so much angry, more so emotional movements. So I'm on my hourly walk of crying with you. No, I'm doing a lot less strength training or power training and more cardio movements. Like in this office back here,
Right.
we've got like a super cheap walking treadmill from Amazon that works perfectly on the standing desk.
Mm-hmm.
Um, being more intentional about walking the dogs every day and getting, 45 minutes in or so. That's like a good goal of like 10,000 steps a day. I was never somebody to count my steps, but
Right.
it just
I
kind
mean,
of
it's not even just the number, just the fact that you're sticking to something.
yeah, yeah.
Right.
And so then something that's like making a difference, I guess, in my like I can feel it in how I breathe, like my heart rate when I'm still or
Mm-hmm.
doing some sort of exercise. I'm trying to do a few more hikes out now that it's nice and not stormy here.
Yeah.
And then on like a Saturday every other week, I am in the gym doing some powerlifting stuff. Like I will, for some reason, deadlifts is what's triggering to me, but I will do like a little squat and a bench here
Mm-hmm.
and kind of keep some of that strength in my upper and
Actually,
lower
it's the same
bodies.
for me. I haven't deadlifted in a long
Yeah.
time. Yeah.
I don't know what it is. Like it's
Just
just a bar on the ground. I don't want to lift
yeah.
it up.
Just something about the deadlift that's just like, no, ma'am, not for you, not right now.
It's
Uh,
just sitting there. Like
yeah,
it's
I
not
don't
doing
know.
anything wrong.
I don't. Well, this is how I feel. Like benching is the easiest thing for me now.
Hmm.
Benching is whatever. I can have a shitty day and be like, "Ah, I'll bench something. That's fine. But squats is like a lot for me. Does it feel the same for you?
It's the
Like it
same for me,
takes.
especially since if I want to put a little more weight on, I do have to put on the knee sleeves, and I'm like, I don't want to put on fucking knee sleeves today. Oh, it's gonna take like stupid
Yeah.
things, just little things that inconvenience our lives. Like
No, that's true. It's true. There's some days I'm like, fuck, I don't feel like putting on a goddamn sports bra. I'm not doing Olympic lifts today.
the bra,
Cause
yeah,
your your titties gotta be fucking, sturdy for the Olympic lifts. They get in the way. I'm like,
yeah.
guess I'm not doing that today.
Like I don't even care about like I don't use wrist straps anymore. I don't care about the
Yeah.
belt really unless I'm doing something super heavy. But the deadlift for me for sure, I can
Yeah,
tell you
so
for sure for deadlift is like I don't want to deal with having to use both of my hands
the hook and
essentially
shit.
and the hook because the
Yeah.
hook is like breaking, like that's gives me so much anxiety like throughout my entire warm up like oh this shit's going to rip and my shoulder's going to go out or something. It's not super safe unless everything is perfect.
Right. And just
And
knowing that
recently
you
it
don't
hasn't
have
been.
it. Yeah, you don't have the mental energy to just deal with that. So you don't. And
Yeah,
that's fine. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
I'm
It's
not
not
trying to
like I'm
break
trying to
any.
compete anytime
Yeah.
soon either. Break any
Yeah.
records? Is that what you
I'm not
said?
trying to. Yeah, I was gonna say that. Yeah. Yeah. It's a concept. Doing things casually. Who
Yeah.
knew? Who knew? Wow,
but
we could just
but
casually enjoy things.
the casual lifts that we do are still like pretty intensive for a huge majority of the population. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm not
Yeah.
trying to toot my own horn, but it's like it's still pretty intense.
Yeah, we're still
So
moving some weight.
yeah, yeah, I'm still
Yeah, it's
giving
true.
ourselves credit for that. Like it's still
Yeah.
200 plus pounds.
Mm-hmm.
Or whatever.
Yeah, but if I don't feel like putting on shoes, then I'm not squatting that day. That's
Yeah,
all.
yep, yep.
That's all.
It's all part of the process.
Woo.
Yeah.
Said a lot of things there. Said a
Yeah.
lot of things there, y'all.
Well, and can I just say, like, just as part of the movement thing and like trying to find a balance between what I know is right for my body and what I know,
Yeah.
like, I should be doing versus what the doctor is telling me. Like I'm not in contact with my doctor as much anymore,
Mm-hmm.
but like my OBGYN is like, no, you've got to try to lose like 10
Mm-hmm.
pounds and maybe
Yeah.
your TTC journey will be a lot more positive. I'm like, you don't fucking know that, first of
Shut
all.
the hell up. Shut the
Um,
fuck up. Like skinny people aren't in this IVF clinic. Shut the fuck up. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So, that's just, but there is a huge sense of guilt there. Like, okay, I'm not
Mm-hmm.
moving enough. Like, okay, let's do something, anything.
Mm,
I'm not on a track to try to lose a certain number of pounds, but I do want to feel, just a little more energized.
yeah, I used to have a pressure to be active and quote
Hmm.
unquote pursue wellness type shit.
Yeah. And I want my body to kind of be happy with me at the end of the day. That's my goal. Like, I'm not trying to
Mm,
lose weight. I'm not trying to whatever. I'm not trying to eat the box of healthy things that every
yeah, eat clean and do this
yeah.
diet and do this restriction and organic only and blah blah blah. Like relax.
Yeah. I just want to
Yeah.
listen to my body.
No,
Because
that's real.
it will tell you when it's angry, like the day after.
Yeah.
And sometimes we can't ignore that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it'll catch up to you eventually when you ignore it too.
Hmm. Yeah, so it's been fun. I think you and I do a great job in giving ourselves grace when we can.
Yeah.
So, and giving each other grace because I
Mm-hmm.
love you.
I love you too.
I cried twice during this episode.
We are strong, independent women. We have no tears. There are no emotions here. Just fierceness.
Just angry power
Just
walks.
power walks, lifting weights. This is a weightlifting podcast. No feelings. Fuck. No, I went through it. I went through the range. I went through the range for sure. But that's why we do this podcast because we're real fucking people. We contain multitudes.
Yeah. Yeah. And kind of just putting out there what like we don't see and feel anywhere else
Yeah.
as like us as a Filipina queer disabled woman, you know?
Yes, just everything. There's nothing. There's nothing that has everything. It's always one angle. And then you start listening, you're like, oh, great, they're fucking anti-fat. Or you start listening, they're like, oh, great, here comes some ableist fucking restrictive diet nonsense. Like, there's always something missing.
Hmm. Well, we got it all, folks.
We've got it all. Or it's the fitness person, and they don't ever fucking talk about what's it like lifting weights after you get divorced. Like,
Yeah, write a
like,
book on
come
that.
on, Jesus. It's like y'all need to be fucking for real out here. Jeez.
A how to dummies book is what we need.
Yes. How to lift your spirits. No, how to lift weights when your spirits are not lifted.
Mm.
How to chase gains when the emotions are chasing you. Yeah, that's a dissertation, honestly. We could go on for years.
Yeah,
Yeah, said a lot of
that'll
things
sell
there.
10,000 copies.
That's a bestseller instant.
Real quick before we end this episode, can you
Yes.
plug the book that you actually are
Oh
in
shit.
and just like it's on all platforms now?
Oh, yes. We could put that in the show notes. So we'll put the show notes, the YouTube thing, that's personal. That's my video series about divorce, abuse, blah, blah, blah. But separate notice is that we have a book out. When I say we, I mean, so Lawrence Rock from Rooted Resistance and Justice of Fitness for All Bodies made a fucking book, and they contacted a bunch of people with different backgrounds. We're talking fat activists, yoga people, I'm in it, and we all have so many different stories and perspectives to share about fitness. So that book is out. It's called Deconstructing the Fitness Industrial Complex. So you can get that literally fucking anywhere. But we'll put the link in the show notes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Good point. Good work.
A link on how to support directly too and not pay money to Amazon and other third party.
Yeah, I mean, ideally, you would like support your local bookstore or whatever. But yeah.
That's so exciting! Go
Mm-hmm.
read it. Go buy it.
Mm-hmm.
Hell
Buy
yeah.
that shit. Buy
Hell
it.
yeah. And probably coming to a book festival or talk or whatever near you is
Mm-hmm.
you and some of the other authors. We'll see.
We'll see. We'll see. That's all for now, folks. I think
All
you got a lot,
right.
a lot to unpack. Good luck. Good
That was
luck
a
out there.
lot. We will
Disabled
probably have to put a few trigger
girl
warnings.
out. Yeah,
Bye.
for sure. Bye.